Okay guys, we're back and we're going to do something a little bit different this week. And relax, compared to recent weeks, this should actually be pretty easy. There's no code, there's no big confusing new system like the animator controller. We're just going to learn how to reskin our characters. So we have a couple of characters in our scene, and they look pretty good. But what if we wanted to make them look different? What if we wanted to be able to change the way that their clothes look, or the color of their hair or skin? Well, this is actually pretty easy to achieve. So how do we do it? Well, first, we need to go into our assets. I'm going to go into my characters folder, and for today, I'll go into my NPC2 folder and look at the character that we were working on last time. Now, you'll remember that the textures that we used to apply the color to her clothes and skin last time were here in this idle.fbm folder. So here's all of her textures. So this image holds all of the information for the color of her skin and clothes. So let's start here. First thing I need to do is get this out of Unity and into Photoshop. So I'll drag Unity over, and I'll drop this texture onto the desktop. Now if I were to just double click on this and look at it real quick, well, it looks a little bit horrifying, but this is what the UV layout for a texture on this character looks like. So some things are very obvious, like the eyes, you can see right here, the skin for the face, the texture for the pants, this here is the t-shirt. Some of these are a little bit harder to figure out, but a lot of this is probably for the shoes. Here we can see the fingers. At a guess, this here is probably for the arms. So if you hadn't guessed already, painting UVs from scratch can be pretty tricky and confusing. So today I'm not going to ask you to repaint these UVs or repaint these textures from scratch. I'm just going to ask you to take these into Photoshop and make some modifications to them to make sure you understand the basics of the process. So let's get this open in Photoshop. There's a bunch of easy ways to do this. You could control-click this image, hover on Open With, and then select Photoshop. Or if you already have Photoshop open, you can simply drag it and drop it in. All right, now that we have it open in Photoshop, what can we do with it? Well, let's start with something fairly simple. Like, let's say we want to change the color of the shirt. First, I'm going to try to make a selection. I just want to select the shirt so that I can change the color of that without changing the color of anything else. One of the easiest ways to do this will be this selection brush right here. Now if I control click this, you can see it could also be the magic wand tool that you see right here. So if you see the magic wand, you can just option click to switch tools or control click to see both of them and then select the quick select tool. So with our quick select tool or quick select brush, we can start to paint and try to get areas of just the color that we want. So I'm going to look for anywhere that has what looks like this white shirt color and add it to my selection. Now, down here you can see it looks like, I believe these are the bottoms of the shoe, which, let's be honest, if I accidentally changed the color of the bottom of the shoe, we probably wouldn't really notice. But just to clean this up with my selection brush, I'm going to hold down Option. You can see the plus sign in the middle of the little circle turns to a minus, which means I'm going to remove something from my selection. So I'm going to just try to remove the bottoms of these shoes from my selection of what is otherwise just the shirt. All right, and this was done very quickly, but it looks nearly perfect, or at least I hope. So let's test this out and go see how it works. Let's say I want this shirt to be, well, really we could pick any color, so let's go with orange. All right, so I want this shirt to be orange. Because I've made that selection, I can just go take a brush of any size and I can just quickly paint over it. Now you'll notice that I lost a lot of detail here. So instead of just painting with a solid color over top of the texture that's already there, what I probably want to do is create a new layer. So I'm going to click right here and select new layer. And I'm going to call this My Paint and hit OK. Now let's do that painting again. So I'm still covering up all the detail, especially up here. You can see that where there were once details, now it's just solid orange. This is not going to come across as an improvement. So the easy way to fix this would be to change this from a normal layer to something like a multiply or an overlay. Overlay doesn't really work with these colors. There's a lot of different settings here. And I recommend that you play around with a few to see if one of them really looks good. Like linear burn looks pretty good here. Darker color, not so much. Generally speaking, multiply is probably going to be one of your safest options for this. So using my multiply layer, I'm changing the color of the shirt. I'm not losing any of the detail that was originally painted there. Now let's go see if I was right about my guess of where the shirt is in this UV layout. Because remember, this is a 2D representation of the 3-dimensional skin that's being stretched all over our character. Now, one thing before I save this, it might also be a good idea, if I want to keep working on the shirt without working on anything else, I can save this selection. So I might go to Select and Save Selection and call this Shirt and hit OK. Now I can just deselect that, go to File, Save As. I don't really want this to be a PSD. A Photoshop document isn't going to translate very well into Unity. So I'm going to save this version as a PNG. And I'm just going to call this Orange Shirt PNG for now. Save that to my desktop. Now let's go back to Unity. Now this save is actually being a little bit slow. You can see it's kind of hanging at 87% here, but it's finally done, it looks like. So let's go find it. Alright, here's my new orange shirt. I'm just going to drag this in down here with my other textures for this character. And let's see if this looks good or not. So to test it out, I'll go to NPC2 and I'll go to the body. And I'm going to replace the albedo with my new skin. Alright, well the color of the shirt is definitely different. Let's go take a closer look and make sure that I didn't accidentally change something else that I didn't want to. But this looks pretty good. Let's go give it a test play and take a closer look just to be sure. Alright, there she is in her fancy new shirt. So, that wasn't so hard. And hopefully by now you're starting to see the potential of what we could do using Photoshop to change our skins. Let's say I wanted to put a logo or some kind of design onto this shirt. So I've decided I want to do something with Among Us on her shirt. To help me find something that's going to look good and be easy to do quickly, I'm going to go to Tools, and then Color, and look for something that's got a transparent background. Alright, let's say I just want to make this a logo that's on her shirt. First, make sure you're getting the real image and not the thumbnail. Thumbnails are going to look chunky and terrible. We want this to look good. Then, before we get into Photoshop, we need to get it onto the desktop or saved somewhere on our computer. Now that it's off the internet and on our computer, we can get it into Photoshop. Looks like a good quality image. It's pretty large right now, so I'm going to resize it. Keep in mind, if you want to make sure that you don't stretch or squish this in a weird way, you can hold down Shift and it will keep its proportions. Now, to be totally honest, I'm not exactly sure what's the front and what's the back of this shirt at a glance. So I'm going to kind of take a stab. Oh, wait. I think I do. It looks like this is the neckline of the shirt right here. Now, I suppose that could be the back, but I'm getting the feeling that this is the front of the shirt. So I am going to try to rotate this. And again, if I hold down Shift, I can be certain to only rotate this at like 90 or 45-degree angles, and I can help try to keep this lined up and not crooked. So this is going to be my attempt to put this Sabotage logo on the front of her shirt, and it looks upside down here. But I believe when this is actually put onto the model and the UV is stretched out properly, I think this is going to look good. Let's go find out. Worst case scenario, we just come back here, make some adjustments, and see if we get it right the next time. So I'll just do a save as, once again, making this a PNG. I'll call this one Orange Shirt 2. Okay that. Gotta give it a little bit of time to save. And with the saving all done, here's Orange Shirt 2. Let's bring it into Unity, and let's try it out and see if we got it right. Can't see it too closely yet, but at a glance, it looks like we did okay here. There we go, we just created a custom t-shirt for our character, and it looks pretty good. Now I'm going to save my scene because I like these changes. This character just became more fun just because she's wearing a shirt that feels modern and relatable instead of just the most plain white t-shirt you've ever seen. Okay, so I'm about to wrap up this video, but there's two things I want you to know. One is there is a part 2 to this, where I'll show you how to change things like the skin color and add tattoos to the skin as well. However, that's kind of bonus content, and the audio quality for that one got a little bit messed up. So you don't need to watch it if you don't want to, but if you're interested in learning how to do more, I recommend you give it a look. Finally, what you actually need to do this week is edit at least one color in your character, and add at least one image. Whether that's to their skin, or their shirt, or their pants, or their shoes, or a few different areas and a few different things, that's up to you. Once you've made those changes, make sure to take a screenshot of it, then upload it to the comments in Schoology. So remember, if you want to learn more, there is another video on this, but this is everything that you need to know, so good luck and have fun.